What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, if you've been here before, then welcome back. I have not made very many videos in this last year. I've had a lot of stuff go on, a lot of stuff happen. Um, Far more ups than downs. I started the year at a very low point. Everything was kind of going wrong when the year started. So what I wanted to do today is just kind of do, I guess, like a year in review of sorts, and go over how my year went, where I started at, where I'm at now, what I've done, what I've accomplished. This may not be of very much interest for some people, but that's fine. This is just, I haven't made a video. I haven't made almost any videos this year. Since I started YouTube, this is probably the lowest production year that I've had. And that's, it's not really something that I'm too upset about, and that's because, like I said, I have had a lot of really good things happen for me this year. So let's start 2023. The year rolls over. Where am I at? What am I doing with my life when the year starts? Well, prior to 2023 starting, I had started delivering groceries for work, and this was like gig work, kind of like Uber Eats, but through a Walmart secondary company program. So I was delivering groceries, and I started making enough money to afford to get a new car, because at the time I had a Lexus that was broken down, and my brother was letting me use his car, but I could tell that his car was getting to the point where it was about to go out. So I was like, I need something new. I need something better. I need a real car for myself. Um, and I went, kind of put together all my finances, saw where I was, and I got a new car. I got a 2020 Subaru WRX. If you've watched any of my videos in the past couple of years, you're probably well aware of that. Um, this car is kind of my pride and joy. It is my baby. This is currently what it's looking like. Um, you can see it's got the enlarged carbon fiber hood scoop. I've got some new wheels on it. They are oh shit, why can't I remember? Koenig. They're the Koenig lockouts, I believe. Bronzed, lowered, basic stuff that you would do, all of the normal things that you would do without touching the actual engine. But I did put a bunch of different, like, if you know Subarus, it's the engine bay dress up stuff. So you open my engine bay and it's red all over, and it looks gorgeous. I love it. I have a picture somewhere, but I don't really want to pause the video and search for it. Um, you know what? Actually, I will do that. And we are back. So this is what my engine bay looks like. Ignore the dirty black covers. I got all those cleaned up pretty much right after I took this picture. I went out for a photo shoot, and I took this picture, and I was like, oh, that is disgusting. So I got all that cleaned up. Ignore that. So yeah, it's kind of my baby. But at the beginning of the year, my car was broken down. My car was broken down because I decided, like a dumbass, to drive. I wouldn't say irresponsibly. I don't think it was irresponsible how I was driving. I was driving pretty casually. Um, and it just, it was snowing. There was ice. I went to turn. The car did not turn. And I went into the curb, crashed my car, destroyed my suspension. It was a very expensive rebuild process. It is what it is. The car's back up and running now. I went in debt getting the parts to fix it, but it's fine because now it's fixed and we've got most of the debts paid off. But the gig stuff, delivering groceries, it wasn't really working. The app started being really funky, and I wasn't really getting orders. So if you're not getting orders, you're not making money. It's not an hourly job. You get paid based on the work. Unfortunately, with that happening, and me still needing to make money to afford my car payment, my insurance payments, you know, random bills, shit like that, I had to go and get a normal, what we'll call 9-to-5 job. So I started working at Walmart. I started working at the store that my wife worked at, and I was an overnight stalker. I just went in and stocked the shelves overnight. This was when I was making all like my lunchtime shorts and stuff like that. So I'd go in at night and I would just stock, you know, pasta sauces and fucking yogurts and whatever else needed to get stocked. And it was work. I mean, it was fine. I met some really good people there, but my manager was a dumbass. He was a complete moron, and he frustrated me. And I was very adamant on the idea that this store is destined for failure if this guy is the overnight lead. And it frustrated me to the point where I was bad. Don't do that in real life. To the point where I left that store, and I had heard rumblings that another store needed an overnight manager. And I was like, well, I've only been with the company for 2 months. So it's March or April at this point. And I go and I talked to store manager. It's super creepy when I tell this story to people, but it's funny at the same time. So the store that needs the manager is the store that I shop at. It's 2 minutes from my house. Like, I hop in my car and it's 3 turns and I'm in the parking lot. So I've seen the manager around. He's seen me around. I've talked to him, but we don't know each other. So I park my car and I wait because I know he's about to be in soon. And I park my car in the parking lot and I wait. And then he gets there. And he parks way on the other side of the parking lot as me. So I move my car over and I see that he's still in his car. He's on his phone doing something. So I just park my car a few spots down in between him and the store, knowing that he has to walk that path in front of me. So I sit and I wait. And he gets out of his car and he starts walking to the store, and I hop out of mine and I'm like, hey, Igor, what's up, man? My name's Corey. I work at 3050. I've heard that you were looking for overnight management, either team lead or academy trainer, whatever position is available. I'd really like to speak with you about it. I've only been with the company for a couple months, but I do have a lot of manager experience, being able to put myself in that role of leader and kind of guide the team in the right direction.
Hey, Rogers.
What the fuck?
A moment to look over some adventures.
No, fuck off.
Thought you might.
Fix, whatever issues there might be, whether it's workmanship or, like what's the word? A jump. Like the whole team vibe, because it seemed off. I would go in there and I'd go in there on my days off when they opened up, and I just kind of shop, and the team just felt off. So I talked to him, and I was very upfront about the fact that I don't really know what you're looking for in a team lead. I don't have experience in Walmart leadership, and again, I've only been with the company for a couple months. However, I really do think that if you give me the opportunity, I can show you that I'm the right person for the job. And I guess he liked what he heard, because he hired me for the position and promoted me to overnight team lead after me being with the company for just 2 months. Cool. That was great. It was a really big raise. It was like a $6 raise, which is awesome. That allowed me to much quicker get my debts paid off, get some of my other personal debts paid off, and then start investing into, fun stuff. I'm working 10 hours a day, busting my ass. I'm not taking my lunches because I'm trying to fix the store, and we'll get a little bit more into that here in a minute.
Awesome. Wait. Now go do another one.
So
I'll have my camera phone ready this time.
what the fuck? What was he talking about? So I'm working a lot, and I decide, I want something for me, something for myself. So I decided to build a computer. I built a new computer this year. I've always, when it comes to my computers, I really need to get that handy break. When it comes to my computers, I've always done like, they were all home builds, but it was like the lowest of the maybe mid tier, like low mid tier. And it's just because I wanted a good stuff, didn't have much money, so you go with what you can afford. I was able to afford a PC that I could stream on, that I could record on, okay enough. This new one, however, because I jotted down the list a minute ago. That's not the button I meant to press. So we'll just hang out here for a second. The PC that I built, just real quick specs, just because I'm pretty happy about this. And if you're watching YouTube videos, you're probably interested in computers as well. Most people are. So for the motherboard, I went with the B650 Aorus Elite AX. It's got 64 gigabytes of 6,000 megahertz DDR5 RAM. The Corsair colored light up one. It's got a Ryzen 9 7900X. The whole system is cooled within Corsair H150. I had to get it because of the faceplate. The faceplate just looks fucking awesome. The actual case is a Corsair 4000D Airflow. I fucked up when I bought the graphics card. I was trying to get a 3060 Ti, but I got a 3060 instead because I'm an idiot. So it's a 12 gig 3060 RTX. What else? The cooling system that comes with it, and then I got the not that comes with it, the H150, and then I got two Noctua. There we go, Noctua NFP 14s. So it's a pretty okay computer. I think it's does its job. It works pretty well, and that that was really cool. But I still feel like I'm working this store and I'm doing all this stuff, and then it starts getting to the point where when I took over the store, the morality there was just like it was a really big like night shift versus day shift type thing, and the store was like dysfunctional in the sense that like everything was night shift's fault. Everything that happened during the day like was our fault, and then everything that like we blamed them because we could see it. We're like, this is objectively not us. We're not at work when this stuff is going on. Like, we're leaving work and then coming back and seeing the things that we fixed destroyed, and still we're just getting told, hey, just chill. We're working on fixing the problems, but you need to pick up the slack. And I'm like, why the fuck do I have to pick up the slack? Like, I don't have nothing to do just simply because I'm overnights. Like, this is not how it works. We're overnights, yes, so we don't have customers, yes, but we're like 7 people, 8 people, 10 people, depending on the night, trying to throw like 2,000 to 3,000 pieces of freight a night. And then also making sure that the store is cleaned up and ready to go when customers come in the morning, making sure that our cardboard is all picked up and thrown out, our garbage is all picked up and thrown out. I have to do a little bit of receiving here and there in the morning. Not really receiving, but I've got to make sure the doors are open for the vendors to come in and drop their stuff off. And I'm continuing to get told, you need to pick up the slack. Your team's fucking up. You guys aren't doing well. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So I get there, the store's at like 85% index to plan, which means an index to plan being 85% means like you're expecting to make $100, but you only made 85. Now let's extrapolate that data to a big, massive company like Walmart. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars below where they're supposed to be at. And I'm like, okay, well, this is obviously a problem. I look at the store, I kind of gauge what I think it might be. And I'm like, okay, well, there's a lot of practices that are happening in the store that are not being corrected. A lot of bad practices and bad habits that aren't being corrected. They're like the people aren't being talked to that need to be talked to. That corner was earlier than I thought it was. So we start fixing those. That's the first thing I focus on. Get everyone on process, doing what they're supposed to be doing. If you're doing it the wrong way, stop doing it that way. Do it the correct way. When this starts happening, we start pushing more freight out because we're following the correct processes. The only issue is the processes that we're fixing are, a lot of them are not even processes that are our responsibility. It's things like working backstock, working, like stuff that is supposed to happen during the day, stuff that is objectively not the night crew's responsibility. But the mentality is you don't have customers, you can get your job done faster, and then you can take care of all this other stuff. But that's not how it works. Anyone that's worked overnight or retail in general knows that that's simply not how it works. So it's frustrating me, but I'm like, I need more money. I want to make more money. So I reach out to another store. It's now August? Yeah, I think it's August, mid-August. I see that there's an opening for a salaried member of management. And I'm like, shit, I've only been with the company for 6 months. They're not even going to consider me. But I reach out to the guy that's doing the actual hiring. And I basically do the same thing. Like, hey, this is me. I'm Corey, yada, yada, yada. When I came to this store, we were rolling pallets. The dairy cooler was full of pallets every single night, to the point where we had to start shoving our freight when not us, but when we came in at nights, our freight, like our dairy would be in the meat cooler or the produce cooler. Because what is that? Because there's just no room for it in the dairy cooler, because there's so much backstock that's not being worked. So, oh, it's a gifting center. So I go in there and I fix that. I get it adjusted. I pull all the freight out, and there's a couple nights of work, but I pull everything out of the cooler and we get it all worked. Then we go through the bins, which is where all the overstock that's labeled and ready to be scanned, and the system will tell you if it needs to go out. It's called Vispick, doesn't matter. I see that there's things in there that were put in there in March. This is dairy that's been sitting in the cooler, not worked, on the shelf, scannable, ready to be picked and go out for like 5 months. Which means it's expired by now. So we end up throwing away like a third of the freight that's in the steel in the cooler, because it's all expired, it's all old, it's all bad. And I'm like, why, how did this get like this? And the freezer was no better. So I ended up bringing my buddy Jordan over from the store that I started at. I brought him over and I was like, I need you to come over here and I need you to be my associate, because I need your help with this. He came over, we got it all done. We got it all fixed. We got it all taken care of, everything, because like I made it very adamant to my team. Dairy and frozen, no exceptions. If you roll dairy, if you roll frozen, you will be coached. You will be reprimanded. This is not something we do. This is not freight that we can let lapse like that. Not okay. It's too time sensitive to get it onto the floor, to get it out to where customers can buy it. There's no reason for it to be sitting in the back. I make sure that you have the amount of people that you need. Not that the system says that you need, that I know that you need to get the jobs done over there. Get them done. And part of that was I was throwing dairy every single night myself because I held myself responsible just like I did my team. And so we get all this fixed. And because these certain little processes, that just being one of them, are being addressed and fixed and followed, and then we're also, while we can, fixing the stuff that day crew is accumulating, like pulling stuff from the steel and then just throwing it up on the top of the shelves. No, don't do that. It was every single day. So we'd be fixing those problems as well. With all of these things going on, and I'm not saying this is solely my doing, obviously not. I'm one person in a retail store. But with me focusing on all this stuff and getting my team more into a proper groove and kind of massaging day crew. Anytime I would bring something up, I'd be like, hey, we noticed this issue. We fixed the issue. If we could, let's all speak with our associates and give them a little bit of a refresher on the proper processes for these things, because it's imperative. It is so important that these things are handled correctly, because if they're not, we fall right back into the position that we were in. And we went from, like I was saying before, 85% index to plan to 103% index to plan. And that's phenomenal. That means we are over what they're thinking that we're going to make. And we made this massive change in just a few short months. So I bring that up when I'm speaking to the guy for the salary position. And he's like, okay, well, let's set up an interview. And I'm like, okay, just want you to be aware, I've only been with the company for 6 months. My primary goal of this interview is to see what the interviewing experience for a salaried position is like. That's what I want. I want to see what the interview is. I want to experience the interview. That way I can kind of, I guess, get those, that initial, like, oh shit, what is this? That nervousness out of here. So,
shall we send a thank you?
no, I'm going to take it for free. Actually, that's from an actual person. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. So I do the interview, and we get done with the interview, and then they start going over what my schedule is going to be, what my pay is going to be. And I'm like, hold on. What do you mean? And they're like, well, you interviewed really, really well. So we just want you to be aware of what to expect, because we're going to reach out to your store manager and speak with him. And then we're going to reach out and see if we can get an approval for you, because you are really new with the company, but we really do think that you're the right fit for this position. And I'm like, okay, awesome. And then they ask the question that I love. I love this question so much. Do you have any questions for us before we end this interview? And I'm like, absolutely, I do. So the stores in my area, the super centers, they have a very high turnover rate. And with salary member of management, I see it all the time where people are very motivated and they're gung-ho and they're like really about it. And then they get to salary and they go to this store specifically, which is a store that I'm interviewing for. And within a couple months, they quit. I mean, right now, for example, you have 6 assistant coach positions open and a store manager position open, which means you're running your store with 1, maybe 2 salaried members of management. You have 1 person on days and 1 person on nights, I'm presuming. Why are people so quick to quit this store? What's going on? And I shit you not, it is the middle of 2023, and she says, COVID. She says that's the reason that people are quitting. People aren't used to having to be like close with one another and yada yada yada. And I'm like, these are retail associates. These are retail associates that are getting promoted from a team lead to a coach. They've been in the position. The position isn't that much different. It's a lot more bodies you have to look over. But that didn't really make sense to me. So they did offer me the position, and I declined it. It was barely a raise. It would have been a lot more hours, and I was just like, no, I'm good. But whatever, it is what it is. I kept working. I kept doing my thing. And then as I'm working overnights, because of the time that independent distributors come in, independent merchandisers, because of the time they come in to stock the freight, I start meeting and getting to know a lot of them. And I'm getting really like more and more frustrated at Walmart at this point, because like the same shit's still going on, where everything is my fault. I need to work harder. I need to work better. I'm not doing things the right way. And I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like, I'm busting my fucking ass. I do not take breaks. I do not take lunches. I work from the time I clock in until the time I clock out. I clock out for lunch, and then I go and I stock fucking freight. Like, I am busting my fucking ass trying to make this shit work. And as I get to know some of these vendors, one of them asked me, like, hey, do you have any reason, like, what's the reason that you're still at Walmart? And I'm like, oh, it pays all right. He's like, do you, like, are you here for the benefits or what? And I'm like, nah, I don't care about the benefits. That, like, doesn't really, that's whatever. That, I don't even take the benefits that they give me. Like, I don't, no. And he was like, have you ever thought about being a vendor? I was like, I mean, I have a lot, but it's one of those things where, you know, like, yes, I would like it, but the opportunity's never arisen. It's also incredibly expensive to start doing, because to be a vendor, you have to either know somebody that owns a route that is looking for a merchandiser, or you have to invest like $500,000, $250,000, $1 million to purchase a route and then start working it. So we're talking, and he's like, well, I know somebody that needs a merchandiser. And I'm like, all right, well, what's the pay structure like? And he goes, well, it's commission. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, it's 100% commission. You're technically a 1099er, so you're like a contract employee, essentially. You don't get paid hourly. You get paid based on the amount of product that you move. And I'm like, oh, really? So you're telling me I'm paid based on my performance, not paid to be a body in the building? And he's like, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, yes, I'm very interested. Very, very interested in that, because I can perform at a very high level when I want to. I don't want to very often, but if you're telling me I can make a lot more money based on my performance, I better believe I'm gonna fucking perform like a motherfucker. So I let Walmart know, like, hey, I'm dabbling with this idea, because, you know, I'm very upfront with my employers. I want them to know, like, if I'm going to be leaving soon, I just feel like it's the right thing to do to let them know, like, hey, my position's going to need to be filled. So I'm telling them this, like, you know, letting them know what I'd like to do and my plans and stuff. And they're just kind of like, okay, cool. Like, didn't even really think I was serious or what. I have no idea. Well, then I actually went and talked to the person that needed a merchandiser, and, you know, we had to haggle a little bit because he wanted me to run one of his other routes that I wasn't willing to run. And I countered it with, if you offer me this other route that I know you need a driver for, I will walk into my job and put in my 2-week notice on my store manager's desk as soon as we get done here today. And we keep talking and talking and talking, and then he kind of leans back and looks, and he goes, so you'll put in your 2-week notice today, if I offer you this Beaverton route? And I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely. And he's like, okay, I'm going to offer you the Beaverton route. And I'm like, cool, great. So I go in and I put in my 2-week notice. Store wasn't happy. Once they realized that, like, I think what their thought processes was, oh, it's just like his salary position. We'll be able to talk him out of it. So I go in to talk to my store manager, Igor, and let him know. And he's like, oh, you know, I think this is a really bad idea. I think you have a lot of opportunities here within Walmart, you know, that you can make a lot of money. Like, look at me, and in just this short amount of time, I'm making this much money. And, you know, like, yeah, it's hard work, but it's a career, you know, there's a lot of opportunities here. And he's basically telling me that I'm not going to be making the money that I think I'm going to be making as a vendor. And in my mind, I'm like, I've already went and worked with one of the vendors to see what the job is, because that was the other thing. He's like, it's way harder work. You're going to be working way harder, doing way more stuff. You're going to be way more stressed out. I had already worked with the vendor that was like getting me interested in it a day or two. So like I already knew what the job was going to be. You literally drive to a store, walk in, look at the shelf. Okay, I need this, 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 I need this. You go out to your truck, you fill up boxes with what you need. You walk back in the store, you talk to a receiver. Hey, I'm bringing in this, 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 and this. They tell you okay or no. Swap invoices, stock the shelves, go to the next store. I don't have a boss. I don't have associates. I don't have, it's me. It's me. I leave in the morning. I go and I get in my big white box truck, and I drive from store to store to store, delivering cookies and crackers. And I make in a week doing this what I made a paycheck at Walmart. So I doubled my pay doing this, taking this switch. And the other thing is I work like 5 to 6 hours a day. There's some days, like warehouse days, I'm probably going to be gone for probably 15 hours. But that's because I go and I run my route in the morning, and then I go and receive my big truck, which is like all my freight for the week. Get my truck stocked so I don't have to do it, the next morning. So it's like that one day a week is a really long day. But it's fine. It's one day a week. Every other day, I'm done hella early. And I have my entire day, like today, for example. I was done today by like 9:45. You know what time I left my house this morning? Like 3:45, 4. So, like, I was done today in about 5 hours. And that's just the normal average day, and I make so much more. And it's just working hard, talking to people, being personable, and being open to putting myself out there. That has been a huge thing that I've done this year. I've put myself back out into the world instead of just sitting in my house, sitting on my computer, doing nothing all the fucking time. And with that, I've gone from not really making money, not really being able to pay my bills, not really being able to afford my car, to now I'm good. Like, I'm set. We're doing so, like, this job gave me an opportunity so great that my wife was able to quit her job, and now she just comes every day and rides with me, and we work the freight together. We're back normally before James even wakes up in the morning. So, like, we go out, we do our work, we're done for the day. We're back home. We work together. I actually, was working overnights. Amber was working days. Never got to see each other. Now, we see each other all the time. And I know that there's the idea with a lot of people, like, oh man, I wouldn't be able to work with my wife, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to spend any more time with that bitch than I have to. I enjoy time with my wife. I love my wife. My wife's like my best friend. We've always gotten along like this. This is not the first time that we worked together. When we were in Texas, we lived in Texas for a long time. When we were in Texas, we lived together and worked together for years. For years, we worked in the same job. We were both managers. We were the night managers at a fucking taco joint. And, you know, it's a different mentality. We're both the kind of people where it's like we can be like arguing or whatever at home, which never happens. Very, very rarely happens. We can be arguing at home, but as soon as we step through that building or step through the doors of that building, argument's done. It's pause, break. We'll pick back up later. We are at work. We are not husband and wife. We are shift manager Corey and shift manager Summer. This is how it is. And we both are very adamant on this type of relationship where it's like we separate ourselves at work from at home. So it works fantastic for us. I understand that some people may not be able to do that. I wouldn't say it's always an easy thing to do because both parties need to be willing to make that commitment. Can I make it? But it's great. And like here's the thing. I've never really been able to get my wife anything nice for Christmas because we've always been, I wouldn't really say poor. Lower middle class. Like we're able to pay our bills, we're able to put money into savings, we're able to build a 401k, we're able to do all these things. We have a nice car, we have nice things. But we focus more on taking care of our lives than we do buying each other things. And this year I was actually able to get her like a lot of stuff that I knew that she wanted that was nice, you know? And it all comes from just working hard. Like I'm it's not I think that a lot of people take the idea of working and they look at it in the wrong way. You're when you're at work and you're working hard and you can keep a smile on your face and you can keep a good attitude and you can joke with people and you can, you know, the ability to do these things, what you're putting out in the world is that you're a dependable, reliable, good person. When you show up to work and you're dedicated to work, it's like with anything in life, that dedication builds that muscle of dedication, you know, like it's kind of, I don't need to go into a whole thing about it, but the more dedicated you are to things, the easier it is to continue to be dedicated to that. And when you dedicate yourself to working hard, you're putting out into the world that you're worth more. You deserve more because you're willing to work harder. You don't deserve more just because you exist. You deserve more because you're busting your ass. You're working as hard as you can. You know, you're leaving work and you're still drenched in sweat because you're like, no, this is my fucking job. I got to get this done. And, you know, this year is exemplary of, or not exemplary. I guess it's an example. I think exemplary works for that. It's an example of that. You know, the year started, no job, no ambitions, car broken down, feeling like everything was just falling apart. And now, like, again, let's look again. Like, this was a week or two ago. Like, this is a very recent picture. It's all fixed. It's working now. I mean, my wife got me a full fucking racing sim setup, a G923, for Christmas, which is fucking amazing. So happy. Like, I've wanted one of these for so long. Like, just a full sim setup and never really been able to afford it because it's not cheap, but it is very nice to have. I guess the main purpose of this video is one, just to hop on here and make a video. I haven't really made many in a while, the last year. And just kind of express how things are going, man. You know, it's rough out there. Inflation's a bitch. You know, things are rough. Things are tough. There's crazy shit going on all over the world, but all you got to do is focus on yourself. Just focus on yourself, work hard, and who knows? You know, 2023, I know that a lot of people had fucking a terrible year and will say that it's like, oh, 2023 was da da da. It was great for me. You know, I set my goals. I said what I would do in the year, and I accomplished them. You know, when I started at Walmart, I was telling everyone I will be overnight team lead. I am going to get an overnight team lead position within 2 months. And it wasn't like I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try for it. It was, I am going to get this. 2 months later, I got it. The next step, I am going to get salary. Within 1 year of being at Walmart, I will do what takes most people 5 to 10 years to do. And I got offered that and I turned it down. I decided not to take that. And now I'm in a position with far less work, no overhead, no fucking flooring. It's just me. Do I have someone that I answer to? Absolutely. The person that actually owns this. But the only time we talk is to bullshit because he has worked with me. Like my first 3 weeks, I did 2 weeks of training with one guy. And then I came and worked with the guy that actually owns this route so I could meet the receivers, learn, you know, the routes of the route. And like we're making more money in this route than he was able to make from it. We're able to push more products, get more feature spacing. You know, all of these things that allow us to make more money because we just focus on getting it done. It doesn't matter if we don't feel well, you know, if we're kind of tired, I don't want to go to work today. Fuck that. We get up and we get it done. It's not a difficult thing to do. This life is fucking easy, y'all. Like most people don't realize just how fucking easy it is, especially if you live in America. If you don't live in America, that's a completely different scenario. I have no idea what that is like. I've lived in America my whole life. I have zero plans of ever leaving. Um, I know how lucky I am to be here. And I know that there's going to be people, you think you're lucky because you live in America? America fucking sucks. Okay, that's fine if you think that, but it's factually inaccurate. Um, it's just how it is. So I'm not saying that there aren't countries that could be better, but there's no other place that I would want to be. There's no other place I will be. So, you know, it's easy to make a good life for yourself here. You just have to be willing to work for it. I mean, in 1 year, I completely changed the trajectory of my life in just one short year. And all it was a couple small changes. It's not difficult. Anyways, I am probably going to continue putting out videos of me trying to learn how to drift. I'm still playing World of Warcraft here and there. Seasons of Discovery, but it's been kind of fun. It's all right. Turtle WoW is still a lot of fun. I've even been playing like retail here and there a little bit. But since I have the sim set up, I don't really have any interest of doing anything other than just playing racing sims. And then Warframe, now that I have it on my PC, the account that I was using on my PlayStation, I have it on my PC, so that's fucking awesome. Anyways, long video. If you made it this far, let's get a booyah in the chat. I bet I see 0 booyahs, and I'm not even upset. I am very prone to sit and watch 45-minute, 2-hour long, 5-hour long videos, but I'm also kind of a weirdo, so it is what it is. Anyways, thanks for checking out the video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.